What if I told you that the ultimate currency in this world isn't gold, isn't paper money, but something far darker? What if the wealth you see flashing on television screens, the luxury cars, the mansions, they all ran on a fuel made of pure human suffering? Tonight, we re-diving deep into a story from the shadows of a remote Indonesian village where a terrifying myth becomes a lethal reality. Imagine a creature small and innocent like a child, but with a hunger that can never be sated. A demonic entity known as the Tool. It doesn't eat food, it drinks blood. And in exchange for feeding it, the master gets one thing: stolen wealth. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a tragedy of greed, a mother's sacrifice, and a daughter's desperate fight against the darkness consuming her home. Before we unravel this twisted tapestry, picture this: a stormy night, lightning tearing the sky apart, a woman imprisoned in an attic, and her husband downstairs dancing maniacally to music while surrounded by mounds of cash. The air smells of ozone and impending doom. Upstairs, the woman, Sari, is marking the days on the wall, her spirit broken, her body weak. But tonight, the storm offers a chance. A branch crashes through the window. She climbs out, teetering on the edge of the roof, desperate for freedom. But she isn't just running from her husband. She's running from the thing he keeps in the house, the Tool, and when she finally confronts her husband, screaming that she would rather die than return, the heavens themselves seem to answer her plea. A bolt of lightning strikes her down, ending her torment in a flash of blinding white light. She escapes, but in the worst way possible, or so we think. Years later, the evil hasn't died. It has evolved. It is lurking in the corners of a poverty-stricken village where girls go missing and money vanishes into thin air. The story I'm about to tell you is one of survival, of ancient black magic, and of a young woman named Putri who will stare into the abyss of the supernatural to save her family. So turn off the lights, lock your doors, and keep your wallet close. You never know who or what might be watching. Now, let's wind the clock back and start from the very beginning, where the seeds of this nightmare were first sown. Our story begins with the legend of the Tool itself. It is said to be a specific species of devil, a jinn, that looks exactly like a small child. It is kept by people who want to enrich themselves through theft. But maintaining this creature comes at a horrific price. It requires a woman to look after it, to feed it, and it doesn't eat food. It survives by drinking the blood of women and consuming their very souls. It is a parasite of the worst kind. In a remote Indonesian village, this legend has become a grim reality. Every year, women disappear without a trace. Simultaneously, the villagers find their own money gone, stolen from right under their noses. The question on everyone's mind is, who is raising this monster? And how can they possibly stop it? To find the answers, we have to look into the past, to that stormy night I mentioned earlier. We see a sprawling, eerie house. Inside the attic, the atmosphere is suffocating. The walls are scarred with scratch marks, silent witness to someone held captive there for days, maybe weeks. That woman was Sari, and her jailer wasn't a stranger. It was her own husband, Sukuman. Downstairs, the scene was a twisted contrast to the horror upstairs. Sukuman was in a state of euphoria. He had music blaring at full volume, dancing wildly, celebrating. But what was he celebrating? Scattered around him on the floor were piles of cash, money everywhere. And in the corner, watching him with those dead, childlike eyes, was the source of his wealth, the Tool. Upstairs, Sari was weeping, her spirit crushed, until the storm gave her a window of opportunity, literally. The wind howled, a massive tree branch smashed through the attic window, and the glass shattered. Sari saw her chance. She knew that if she stayed, she would die slowly, drained by the monster her husband cherished. She climbed up the furniture, inching toward the jagged opening, terrified but driven by the primal instinct to survive. Downstairs, the music was so loud that Sukemen didn't hear the glass break immediately, but he felt a shift in the air. He looked around and saw the Tool. It wasn't dancing. It was moving slowly, deliberately, toward the stairs, sensing something was wrong with its prey. It began to creep toward the attic, its small feet padding softly on the floor. But by the time the demon reached the top of the stairs, Sari was already gone. She had leaped into the dark, stormy night. The Tool found the room empty. It let out a scream, a sound not of a child, but a high-pitched demonic shriek that could curdle blood. The sound pierced through the storm. Sari, landing hard on the ground below, heard the scream and tumbled further, injured but alive. Sukumen heard it too. The music stopped. He rushed to the window and saw his wife running into the darkness, escaping the hell he had built for her. He didn't call out in love or worry, he roared in anger. And he set off after her with the screaming tool right on his heels. Imagine the scene, Sari running through a muddy field, rain lashing at her face, thunder rumbling like the growl of a beast. She could hear the tool screaming behind her, a sound of pure malice. Then, suddenly, the small demon appeared right in front of her, cutting off her path. Behind her, she heard her husband's voice, cold and commanding, telling her to stop. But Sari had nothing left to lose. She turned to Sukumen, her voice trembling but firm. She screamed back at him that she would never return to that house. She would never endure that torture again. She told him that even if she died right there, she would hate him with her last breath. It was a curse, a declaration of absolute loathing. And then, as if the heavens themselves were enacting her will, the sky flashed white. A massive bolt of lightning struck the ground. Sari didn't even have time to scream. She was killed instantly. In a way, the lightning was a mercy, a swift end compared to the life she was living. Sukumen stood in the rain, staring at her body. He had lost his victim, his sacrifice. But the tool stood beside him, unbothered, just waiting for the next one. Sukumen had lost his wife, but his greed, that was very much alive. Years pass. The dust settles on that tragedy, but the evil remains. We shift our focus to a small, run-down eatery in the same village. It's a humble place filled with the scent of cheap food and desperation. On the walls, posters are plastered everywhere. Missing, they say. Photos of young women who have vanished into thin air. A man enters the eatery, holding a poster of a girl named Aline. He is desperate, looking for answers. He approaches the village elder. The conversation is heartbreaking. The man asks why girls disappear every year. The village elder, a man named Sukumen, the same man from the stormy night, now older and holding a position of power, just laughs it off. He dismisses the man's fears with a cruel smirk. "Oh, she hasn't gone missing," Sukumen says casually. "She ran off with her boyfriend. Her family just doesn't want to accept it, but the people in the village know the truth. They feel the dread in their bones. It's not just the girls. It's the theft. Money disappears from homes, from businesses. The economy is crumbling because people are afraid to keep their cash in the village. One villager mentions that even the neighboring villages are suffering the same fate, money vanishing, girls vanishing. Yet the village head tells them not to worry, to ignore these rumors. He tells them such things have never happened in their village before, a blatant lie to the faces of the suffering. In the midst of this, a young girl named Putri enters the conversation with her friend. Putri is vibrant but poor. She has a dream, a chance to escape this village. She tells her friend excitedly that she got a call for a job interview in the city. She's supposed to go next week. The friend is happy for her, seeing a glimmer of hope in their bleak reality. But Putri's family situation is complicated. Her mother, Amber, works at the very eatery where they are standing. We go inside. The owner of the eatery is counting his meager earnings, looking stressed. He complains to Amber that in just 1 week, a massive amount of money has been stolen from his safe. He's struggling to pay Amber her wages. Amber is a kind woman, though beaten down by life. We see her daughter Putri come in with Amber's young son, Ajay. The owner's wife, seeing the poor, hungry boy, urges Amber to take some food home for him. Putri hesitates. She hates taking charity. She sees her mother struggling, knows they are poor, and knows her father is dead. Putri carries the weight of the world on her shoulders. She wants to change their fate, not by waiting for charity, but by working. Putri is determined to join the cruise ship training program. It requires a registration fee, a sum that is astronomical for them. Amber, however, is terrified. Not just of the money, but of what it means. If Putri goes to the city, she leaves the family. Amber wants them to stay together, safe in their little bubble. She tells Putri no. She argues that the money is needed for rent, for Ajay's school fees. She pleads with her daughter not to leave them alone. Putri, frustrated and feeling misunderstood, storms out. That afternoon, in the golden light of the rice paddies, Putri sits with her best friend, Kia. They are watching Aji play nearby. Putri pours her heart out. She tells Ki she doesn't want to die poor. She wants to earn money, see the world. Ki listens. Ki knows the pain of loss. Her parents died when she was young, leaving her and her brother alone. She understands the value of family, but she also knows the cruelty of the world. Ki, trying to help, suggests that maybe Putri is right about needing money. She hints that there are easy ways to make money, though she hesitates. She mentions dark things, black magic, shortcuts. Putri recoils at the idea of doing something wrong, but Ki's tone is ominous. Sometimes the wrong path is the easiest, she muses. Putri shakes her head. She wants to earn, not sell her soul. Meanwhile, Amber's life at the eatery is falling apart. The thefts continue. The owner, unable to pay her, fires her. It's the final blow. Amber walks home in a daze, terrified. How will she pay Aji's school fees? How will they eat? She sits by the roadside, burying her face in her hands, the weight of poverty crushing her. That's when she hears a rustling sound. It's a snake slithering out of a discarded plastic bag. Amber watches it, startled. But then she looks at the bag the snake came from. It's not just a bag, it's stuffed full of cash. Amber stares at the money, stunned. It's a fortune. There's no one around. The temptation is too great. The need is too desperate. Amber, the honest, hard-working woman, makes a split-second decision that will doom her. She takes the money. She runs straight to the house of the village head, Sukiman. She thinks, perhaps naively, that she can return the found money and maybe get a reward, or maybe she just doesn't know where else to go. At Sukiman's house, the door is opened by Bonyu, Sukiman's son. Amber, breathless, asks to see Sukiman. Bonyu goes to get his father. While waiting, Amber clutches the bag, her heart pounding. She doesn't know it yet, but this wasn't a lost bag. It was bait, a trap set by the tool. The money she found wasn't just cash. It was cursed. That night, the atmosphere in Amber's small home changes. The air grows heavy. Amber is in a deep, troubled sleep. She begins to sleepwalk. Little Aji wakes up to use the bathroom. He sees his mother moving strangely, muttering incoherently, walking like a puppet toward the door. Aji is scared. "Mom?" he whispers. She doesn't hear him. She walks out into the night. Aji, brave but terrified, follows her. He sees her go to the water pitcher. He watches as the water inside the pitcher begins to swirl violently, as if stirred by an invisible hand. Then he sees the shadow, a small, childlike shadow standing in the corner. Aji squints. He isn't wearing his glasses, so everything is blurry. He sees the shadow, but he can't make it out. He senses something evil. He runs to get Putri. Putri wakes up to find her mother sleepwalking, burning with fever. She manages to guide Amber back to bed. But Putri is disturbed. Her mother has never done this before. And then she sees the water pitcher. The water is spinning on its own, defying gravity. Putri touches it, and it stops. She turns around and sees something in the reflection of the water, a small, grotesque face. She screams, but when she looks back, the room is empty. Just a trick of the mind or a warning. The next morning, Putri tries to rationalize it. She tells Ki about it. Ki tries to dismiss it. Maybe it was just a cat, Ki says, trying to be the voice of reason, but Putri knows what she saw. She remembers the money Amber brought home the night before. Where did it come from? Amber wouldn't say. That day Amber is gone. Putri wakes up to find the front door wide open and her mother missing. Panic sets in. She searches the house and finds the bag of money hidden under a bed. It's the final straw. Putri knows her mother didn't run away. She knows something terrible has happened. She grabs her brother and runs to Ki's house for help. Ki's brother, Nerudin, wants to go search immediately, but he's sick. A young man named Roni steps in. Roni works on the cruise ships, the very job Putri wants. He's kind, brave, and clearly interested in Putri. He agrees to help her look for Amber. They leave Aji in Nerudin's care and set out. Their first stop is Sukiman. Putri demands to know where her mother is. Sukiman, with that same smug smile, lies effortlessly. Oh, Amber? She's fine. She got a job in the city. She's on the bus right now. She didn't tell you. He spins a tale about him helping her get a new start because the eatery closed. Putri stares at him. She doesn't believe a word of it. If she went to the city for a job, why is her suitcase still at home? Why are her shoes by the door? Why did she leave the money? Roni stands by Putri's side, skeptical of Sukuman's story. They return to Putri's house to investigate. Ajee, playing in the corner, speaks up. He tells Putri about his mother sleepwalking. She was saying black chimney, Ajee whispers. I drew it, Putri looks at the drawing. It's a crude sketch of a tall, smoking tower. In this village, there's only one such structure, the abandoned factory owned by a man Karsuno. Karsuno was the richest man in the village, but the factory has been closed for years. People say it's haunted by a Kuntilanak, a terrifying female ghost in white. Roni warns Putri. That place is dangerous, he says. The Tool are there. Demons that steal money, but Putri doesn't care about the danger. Her mother is in that hellhole, she can feel it. She, Ki, and Roni decide to go to the factory that night. They leave Ajee behind, strict instructions to lock the door and not open it for anyone except Ki, the journey through. The jungle to the factory is a descent into darkness. The trees loom over them like skeletal fingers. The wind howls through the leaves. Roni is nervous, his sandals slipping in the mud. He keeps seeing shadows moving just out of his torchlight's reach. At one point, he hears footsteps behind him. He spins around, torch blazing, but sees nothing, just the suffocating darkness of the forest. Meanwhile, back at the village, Banyu has seen them leave. He runs to his father, Sukuman. They went to the factory. He reports. Sukuman's face darkens. He grabs a machete. He knows what they will find there. He has to stop them. But first he has other loose ends to tie up. He sends men to capture Ajee. At the factory, the trio reaches the massive, rusted gates just as the sun sets, casting long, ominous shadows. They manage to pry open a side door. Immediately, they are assaulted by a swarm of bats. The air is thick with the smell of rot and mildew. Deeper inside, they find an old office. On the desk, they find posters, the missing girls. Dozens of them. Putri's blood runs cold. Her mother's picture is among them. Suddenly, a noise echoes from a hallway. A scratching sound. Roni, trying to be brave, investigates a large crate. He opens it, and a decomposing monkey lunges out. They scream, scattering backwards. Then they hear it a low, guttural growl. Putri freezes. Mom? She whispers into the dark. No answer, just the growl. They find a staircase leading down into the basement. It's pitch black. They descend carefully, their flashlights cutting through the gloom. The basement is a labyrinth of pipes and water. At the end of a corridor, they find a door. Inside, it's not a storage room, it's a shrine. Candles are lit everywhere. There are bags of money stacked like bricks. And there, on a table, is a photo of Sukuman and Sari. Sari, the woman who died in the lightning. This was Sukuman's sanctuary. This is where he performed the rituals. They find a leather-bound book on a table. Ki picks it up. It's a book of black magic, a manual on how to control a tool. They read the horrifying details. The tool is immortal as long as its master lives. To keep it alive, it must drink the blood of a woman, just like a baby drinks milk. The tool hates mirrors. That's why there were none in this house. The money here was all stolen by the tool, gathered from the village. Amber was chosen because she took the bait. She was the next sacrifice. Suddenly, all the candles blow out at once. Darkness swallows them. From the ceiling, a body drops. It's a woman, hanging upside down. Putri shines her light on her face and screams. It's a horrific, contorted corpse. Then, more bodies drop from the shadows above the ghosts of the missing girls. They aren't at rest. They are angry. They lunge at the trio. Putri feels cold hands grabbing her ankles. They barely escape the room, the wails of the dead echoing behind them. They run out of the basement, gasping for air. Putri is sobbing, terrified for her mother. Roni tries to reason with her. We need to get help, he pleads. We can't fight this alone, but Putri refuses to leave without her mother. Roni, seeing her desperation, makes a hard choice. He tells Ki and Putri to keep looking while he goes back to get help. He runs out into the jungle to find a signal, to find Nerudin, anyone. Putri and Key press on, deeper into the factory grounds, toward Karsuno's mansion, the black chimney Ajay had drawn. The mansion is looming, gothic, and silent. Inside, it's a maze. They split up to cover more ground. Key wanders into a room and sees a strange music box, the same one from the story of Sari. She turns it on. It plays a haunting melody. She takes a photo with her camera, and the flash illuminates something standing right in front of her. A pale, ghostly face. Key screams and drops the camera. When she looks back, it's gone. Putri, hearing the scream, rushes to her. They find another room, this one filled with bags of money, just like in the factory. But on the wall, there is a massive portrait. It's Karsuno, and standing next to him is Sukuman, younger, smiling. I'm sorry, the pieces come together. Sukuman took over Karsuno's evil legacy. Upstairs, Putri finds the attic. The door is locked, but she breaks it down. Inside, she finds her mother. Amber is tied to a chair, bruised and weak. Putri rushes to untie her. Amber is delirious. She whispers, "It comes every night. It drinks my blood." "Who?" Putri cries. "Sukuman," Amber spits out. "He's the master." They have to leave. Now Putri helps Amber down the stairs, but when they reach the bottom, Key is gone. Putri calls for her. There is no answer. Instead, she hears Key's terrified scream coming from somewhere deep in the house. In the House of Mirrors, a room specifically designed to trap the Kuntilanak Key is backed into a corner. Every mirror reflects her fear. Suddenly, in the reflection, she sees someone standing behind her. She turns. It's the Kuntilanak, the ghost woman, her face covered in blood. The ghost screams and the mirrors shatter. Shards of glass fly through the air, slicing into Key. She falls, blood pooling around her, the light fading from her eyes. Putri finds her friend's body and breaks down. Amber drags her away, whispering that they have to survive for Ajay. They find a hiding spot in a closet. Sukuman enters the room, looking for them. He's frantic, searching every corner. Amber holds her hand over Putri's mouth, tears streaming down her face. They listen as Sukuman talks to himself, muttering about the ritual, about the tool needing to feed. But the ghost of Sari is also there. Unseen, but felt, the temperature drops. The air crackles with static. Sukuman feels it. He grips his necklace, a talisman given to him by Sari long ago. The only thing that controls the Kuntilanak, he realizes the ghost is close. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Roni is sprinting. He finds a clearing and gets a signal. He calls Nerudin, screaming for help. But before he can finish, a blow strikes him from behind. Everything goes black. He wakes up tied up in the factory basement alongside Ajay, who has been kidnapped from his home. Sukuman's men have been busy. Back at the mansion, Sukuman corners Amber and Putri. Amber, seeing Ajay is still missing, makes a desperate bargain. She tells Sukuman to take her to spare her children. Sukuman sneers. He agrees, but only if they go to the attic where the ritual must take place. He drags Amber toward the stairs. Putri, realizing she is outmatched, hides, waiting for her moment. Sukuman takes Amber to the attic, the same room where Sari was held years ago. He ties her up. The air is thick with anticipation. The tool is coming. Sukuman starts chanting from the black magic book. Putri sneaks up behind him. She looks around and sees a jerry can of gasoline. An idea forms. Downstairs, the fire starts. Putri sets the bags of money ablaze. The smell of burning paper fills the mansion. Sukuman smells the smoke. His greed overpowers his duty to the demon. He abandons Amber and rushes downstairs to save his money. "No, my money!" He screams, throwing water on the flames. In the chaos, Putri rushes to the attic to free her mother, but the tool arrives. The small demonic creature leaps onto Amber, hissing, ready to feed. Putri tries to pull it off, but it's unnaturally strong. Amber screams. Suddenly, the music box starts playing by itself. The lights flicker. The ghost of Sari manifests. She is no longer the victim. She is an avenging spirit. She appears behind Sukuman as he tries to put out the fire. He senses her. He turns, raising his machete. "Sari, no." "It wasn't me. It was the lightning," he yells. Sari doesn't listen. She screams, a sound that shatters the glass of the factory windows miles away. She attacks Sukuman. She is relentless, a force of pure rage. Sukimen slashes at her with the machete, but it passes through her mist-like form. She lunges at him, her hands wrapping around his throat. Sukimen, desperate, grabs his talisman. I control you. He shouts. He throws it on the ground, reciting a banishment spell. Sari shrieks in pain, her form flickering. But the distraction is enough. The tool, sensing its master is in trouble, hesitates. Putri sees the necklace on the floor. She understands. If she destroys the talisman, Sari will be free to destroy Sukumen. But Sukumen sees her move. He lunges at Putri, the machete raised. Amber, seeing her daughter in danger, breaks free of her restraints and throws herself between them. The machete plunges into Amber's stomach. Silence falls for a heartbeat. Then Putri screams. She grabs a heavy iron candlestick and slams it into Sukumen's head. He crumples to the floor, dazed. Putri grabs the necklace and smashes it under her boot. The effect is instantaneous. Sari's form solidifies into something terrifying. She floats above Sukumen, her eyes glowing red. She screams, and the sound waves literally tear the room apart. Sukumen tries to crawl away, but Sari is upon him. She doesn't just kill him. She drags his soul into the darkness. With the master dead, the tool loses its anchor. It looks at Amber, confused, then begins to dissolve into smoke. It shrieks one last time and vanishes. Putri cradles her mother in her arms. The wound is deep. Amber looks at her daughter, her vision fading. Take care of Aji, she whispers. Live a good life, and then she is gone. Putri weeps, her grief echoing in the haunted attic. But she has no time to mourn. Aji is still out there. She runs from the mansion, back to the factory. She finds the basement. Banyu is there, guarding the prisoners, but he is terrified by the storm raging outside and the noises coming from the house. Putri sneaks in. She finds Roni and Aji tied up. She cuts them loose. Banyu hears them and gives chase. They manage to trap Banyu in a room, locking him in. They run out of the factory just as the sun begins to rise. The nightmare is over. Sukumen is dead. The tool is gone, but the cost? The cost was too high. Weeks later. We are in a quiet hospital room. Putri sits by the window, looking out at the city. She is safe now. She and Aji are living with Key's brother, Nerudin. Roni survived the attack and is recovering in the next room. He comes to visit, leaning on a crutch. They sit together, the silence heavy with shared trauma. Putri holds up the camera she found in the mansion. It still has some photos on it. She flips through them. There's one of the three of them, her, Key, and Roni taken on that fateful day before they went to the factory. Roni had warned them, it's bad luck to take a photo of three people. The one in the middle dies. Putri stares at the photo. Key is in the middle. A chill runs down her spine. The superstition was real. Key is gone. Roni puts a hand on her shoulder. We survived, he says softly. That's what matters, but the story isn't over, not really. As Putri puts down the camera, the television in the room flickers. The news is on. The reporter is standing in front of another village, a place called Pecheng. The reporter talks about strange disappearances, about money vanishing, about a curse spreading. Nerudin walks into the room, his face pale. He looks at the TV, then at Putri and Roni. It's happening again, he says. The evil. It didn't die with Sukumen. It moved. Putri looks at the screen, then at her brother, sleeping peacefully in the chair next to her. She knows now that you can run from the dark, but you can never truly hide. The tool may be gone, but the hunger for wealth, the greed that spawns such monsters, is a disease that infects us all. And as the sun sets on the city, casting long shadows across the hospital floor, Putri knows her fight for survival has only just begun. And as for you watching this, listening to this tale, check your pockets, count your money, and remember, some debts are paid in blood. Thank you for listening to this terrifying tale. If you found yourself looking over your shoulder, or if you felt the chill of the tool's presence, hit that like button and subscribe. We dive into the darkest corners of cinema and folklore so you don't have to. Stay safe and always trust your instincts when the shadows start to move. Until next time.